Hi, and welcome back to the Potato Expo 2019, live here from beautiful Austin, Texas. I'm Bob Larson with the Ag Information Network of the West, and joining me today is Mark de Beaufort. He is with an organization called, of all things, Imagine a World Without Potatoes. It's a scary thought, but Mark, tell us a little bit about your organization. How'd you come to be? What are you trying to get people to realize here?
Thank you, Bob. This campaign is being led by the International Potato Center. The International Potato Center is one of the centers created to safeguard the future of our crops. This one is based in Peru because Peru is the center of biodiversity of the potato. And they came to me a few months ago with this idea of why are people not eating more potatoes? Why is consumption of potatoes stagnating a little bit, especially in the West? It's growing in places like Africa and Asia, but in the West, people are not eating enough potatoes, and we need them to eat more potatoes because we know how good potatoes are. And when we did the study, we find out that people love potatoes. I mean, who doesn't love the perfect French fry or whatever? Who doesn't love potatoes? But it's been like if we've been in a relationship for too long. It's like we've lost some of the passion. We look at the potato and we take it for granted. I find that amazing because when you come to an expo like this and you see what it takes for that delicious potato to be on your plate,
sure,
you know, it's a huge industry. We should not take them for granted, but we are, and that's a problem because if we begin to take things for granted, we don't think about them. We don't think about how good that product is, what it takes to deliver it on that table, and we really truly have to rekindle the passion. That we know we have hidden inside because we love potatoes, but we've forgotten that we love them.
It seems strange, you know, because think of a more versatile food than the potato. I mean, every culture uses it in some form or fashion. I mean, it seems strange that we'd be talking about taking it for granted. It's there in everything we do almost.
I think the industry is guilty of its own success. I mean, you know, we've been so good at producing potatoes so that they are highly nutritious, very economical, wonderfully versatile food, that's what it creates. We've got used to them. And that is dangerous because that's why they walk into a supermarket and they'll say, oh, look at those lovely strawberries, or look at those lovely asparagus or whatever. They look at potatoes and they say, oh yeah, maybe I need some potatoes, but we've lost the emotion. And if we don't recover that emotion, it's very hard to encourage consumption because people will say, well, you know, it's not something I get excited about.
Well, and here you've got a captive audience. You've got people who are dedicated to the potato. What's your message for them?
I think that there's a philosophical message, which is simply to say, look, you know, this is not about selling somebody's potatoes. It's about selling the potato. It's about encouraging consumers to remember those wonderful moments that the potato has given them. Because we all, if we think about it, we will all remember that first French fry or that perfect baked potato when it was cold and wintry outside. But we need to think about it. And so one thing is that, you know, we need consumers to understand this. But the second thing is that 100 voices with one message are much more powerful than 100 different people saying different things.
Right.
Which is what's been happening.
Sure.
So if everybody has a campaign that says, no, we're going to promote our potatoes, but they deliver a different message, then consumers say, oh, well, you know, that's that people's message or whatever. If we join forces as an industry, as a sector, and deliver this one thought that will make people think about what that potato means, that becomes much more powerful.
So we all eat potatoes in one form or fashion, you know, fairly regular basis. Mm-hmm. So we just need to be more aware and not necessarily eat more, but just move other people to understand that a potato is a great food.
Exactly, and I think, you know, that's exactly it. But I think that before we can sell the idea of the potato being a wonderful food, we have to at least care. You see, so I've seen lots of campaigns that talk about, oh, potatoes are really nutritious and healthy or whatever. But if I don't care about the potato in the first place, that message is not gonna, the consumer's not gonna get it because they don't care. So the first thing we need to do is to wake people up, you know, slap them on the face and say, just imagine your life without potatoes. Some people say, well, that's stupid, that's impossible. Some people laugh. I mean, I tell you what's extraordinary is that how in different countries it affects people in different ways. You know, it's a stereotype, but in Russia, when we tried there, they say, oh my God, a world without vodka, you know, that'd be terrible. If we try it in Canada, they'll say a world without poutine. In France, it'd be, I know, sacre bleu, a world without French frites, etc., etc. But it reminds people of what that
Sure.
amazing crop has done for them, and it helps build that emotion, which then allows people to say, I better put some potatoes on my table tonight, I better do whatever, and we need to rekindle it.
It seems strange for a food. You know, if we were just discovering the potato today, we might be calling it the next superfood. You know, and
Well, you know, you've hit the nail on the head. You know, it is a superfood. I mean, for example, today I find it amazing. You go into a supermarket, a trendy supermarket, and suddenly they'll say, I know, here's the latest superfood from wherever. You know, some strange grain, which I'm sure is very, very healthy.
sure.
But as you said, if we discover the potato today, there will be a mad craze because people will say, what is this amazing vegetable that I can fry, that I can stew, that I can do everything with,
Right.
that it's healthy?
Absolutely.
Because that's the other thing that I think for the industry, it's very important. We have to push back on this idea that somehow potatoes are not healthy. They're one of the best, most nutritious, most efficient crops there are in the world. And the reason why some people might have that stereotype is perhaps because they add a gallon of sour cream or of oil to it, or they fry it. A cucumber is fattening if you fry it. You know, and we need to wake people up to actually understand that the potato is not a French fry. A French fry is a delicious way of eating a potato,
Absolutely.
but you shouldn't just eat them as French fries.
Sure. Well, and Mark, if people are interested, you have a website. It's worldwithoutpotatoes.org.
Absolutely, worldwithoutpotatoes.org, and you know, I think what's fascinating is how we have found at the moment we have about 50 to 60 partners
Sure.
in 20 different countries, and we're only just starting. You know, it is a message that we know that the industry can respond to. We have partners in Australia, in Norway, in China, in India, in Latin America, and obviously here we came to promote this, and we've already been successful. I think there's an organization from your part of the world that's joined. The people who, I'm sorry, I forgot their name, but they manage varieties
Sure.
for the tri-state
Right,
area.
right.
And I think that the more people join, because this isn't a question about raising money, it's a question of people using their own marketing and their own platforms to deliver the same message. Because we know the message is successful, and we know that the industry, if they get behind the same message, then we will create a reaction amongst the consumers. And if we can do it globally, because that's the other thing that's important to understand. The potato is a global crop now. It's a global commodity.
Absolutely.
It is everywhere. China is the largest producer of potatoes in the world. This campaign is huge in China. And we have to, and it's always nice to think, quite frankly, at the end of the day or at the end of an event as wonderful as this, is to be able to say, just look what it takes to deliver that perfect potato. Look how many people's lives it touches, it affects. Not even just because you're eating it, but because what it took to put that potato on your table. It's a great story.
So absolutely. So keep that in mind. Worldwithoutpotatoes.org, and eat your potatoes. I'm Bob Larson with the Ag Information Network. We'll be right back.